And a good Monday evening. Flames only managed 2 out of a possible 6 points over the week. The Big Buck Parade continues in Major League Baseball, and the Wildcats are set to go online. All that and a whole lot more coming up on Time Out right here on TVNB. Very good Monday evening. Welcome into Time Out here on TVNB. Jim Hennessy, certainly hope you had yourself a great weekend. The Christmas drive is on, and thank you to everybody who donated some money to the Empty Stocking Fund over the weekend as well. Joining me back in the big chair is a man who is no stranger to Time Out here on TVNB. Barry Johnson, nice to have you back.
Thanks, Jim.
The roving gypsy boy has arrived back home. It's nice to have you back in the studio. Let's get right to it. The Flames struggle over the week. A 4-1 loss to Portland, who are the basement dwellers in the AHL. A 3-2 heartbreaking loss on Friday night to Freddie Beach here at home. And a 3-2 victory against the Wolfpack from Hartford on Saturday night. Let's start Wednesday night in Portland. 4-1. The wheels fell off the apple cart.
Seems they took Portland a little too lightly in that game, and that can burn you every time. It's a mental aspect. They're thinking, we're walking into an easy club here that's in the basement, and they shouldn't have done that, and Vive maybe took them a little too lightly and should have had them pumped up for that one, and I think he realized that going into Fredericton, playing against, at home against Fredericton, and it showed a little better effort, but it just wasn't there. The goaltending is what's lacking now, I think. Kind
of looked like they almost fell asleep in the second period. I mean, it easily could have been Friday night against Freddie. 5-0 Flames after 20 minutes of play. They kept drilling the puck at the goals, but just couldn't seem to get the rubber in that they wanted to, walk away with a 2-0 lead after 20 minutes, and then just kind of fell asleep at the wheel in the second period and then couldn't rebound once Fredericton caught their momentum, rolled into the third, scored 3 goals, and scored the winner on a short-handed goal. So that's not looking too good for the defense.
No, not really, and I also think that, I don't know, Fredericton is a lowly team too, I guess, maybe lonely too, but...
Very, very lonely, I imagine.
But they're suffering from a lot of call-ups too and whatnot in Montreal, because Montreal's on a downslide too, so I mean, I'm glad to see that, and I know you've been crying a few nights here.
We'll step into that pile later on. 3-2 victory against the Wolfpack from Hartford last night. Of course, everybody remembers Hartford from the Eastern Conference Final last year against the Flames, and I don't know, in my opinion, I was expecting a little more back and forth, a little bit more of a physical game last night. Eastern Conference matchup from last year. It just seemed to be a pretty much, well, in my humble opinion, a ho-hum game. It was, there wasn't a lot of good back and forth. A little exciting down the stretch in the final 10 minutes of the third period as the Flames try to hold on for the win, and they do. But I didn't, with all the anticipation of a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Final, it just didn't seem to be the game that was hyped up to be this big of a game.
Seems like, well, you have to take into consideration that was the Flames' third game in 4 days, and the body is starting to wear down a little bit, getting tired. You're hitting close. Another couple of weeks or so, you're going to be hitting close to the midway point of the season, just after Christmas. And this is the time of year when the body starts to wear down, and they need to get some fresh legs, and a rest now will really do them good.
No question. Let's talk about the Flames goaltending situation, because that has been the talk around the water cooler and the local watering holes over the past couple of weeks. Buyar Amadovsky, I knew I was going to butcher that name before I even tried to say it, but he gets called up from the Louisiana Ice Skaters of the East Coast Hockey League, 21 years old, was leading the East Coast League with goals against average, had an 8-2 record. Those 2 losses came on shootouts, so obviously he's got the numbers, but it's going to take a little time, I think, to get him some seasoning here in the AHL.
I think so, and he's only got, 3 games or so under his belt now, and I think, like you say, with some seasoning and some experience here in the AHL, it's quite a bit different game than the East Coast Hockey League, and I think Rick Vive can help him along a little bit too with that, because, I mean, Vive's been down there and he knows what's going on. So I think Amadovsky, I think he'll do pretty good there.
One more note here on the Flames. Glad to see Chris Dingman gets his first goal of the season. Saturday night against the Wolfpack, he was awarded the 3rd star of the game. Dingman, I know personally because I've been down to a couple of the practices. He's the last man off the ice. Him and Jeff Perry have been doing some extra work, and it's good to see a guy like Chris Dingman, because Dingman's taking his ribbing around town. I mean, they say he can't skate. why he spent the year in the NHL. A lot of people criticized that move by Al Coates and the Calgary management, but here's a guy who's putting in the extra effort, and it's beginning to show.
Well, I think with Calgary, what they did with Dingman last year is similar to what Boston did with Thornton. I mean, try to bring him in and maybe bring him along in the big leagues and see how he makes out. But Dingman was doing some crying, and the first of the season when he found out that he was coming down to St. John's, said, "No way, I'm not going to go here. I won't play here. I want to trade." Blah blah blah. And I think he's realized that he needed to come down here and hone up his skills and get into a little better shape possibly too, and add some more aggression to his game. And he's starting to do that, which is good to see.
Well, it's tough. I mean, it's a big transition. It's when you're used to flying everywhere on the jet and being treated first class, and not that the Flames don't have a first class organization, but flying everywhere as to flying a little bit, being on the bus most of the time, with the iron lung as it's known around the circles in the hockey world. I mean, it's a big transition. I think Dingman's handled it very well so far.
Yeah, I think he's settled into a role that he has to play here, and he knows, like I say, he has to get the skills up to par, and he won't, if he does, he won't be long before he's up in Calgary again. All
right, let's make the leap up to the NHL. Of course, you took my shot at my Habs there a couple of minutes ago, so let's get to it. 7 losses in a row. Speaking of, wheels falling off the apple cart, that has definitely happened in La Belle Province. What's the problem with this team? I mean, they traded away Thibault and because they said he wanted out and he wasn't ready to play for the team. He's gone. Jeff Hackett's in there, which I thought was, to say lightly, the biggest bonehead trade so far this season. And, they're still not producing. The goal scorers aren't coming through. They get hammered by Boston on Friday night, 5-1. They lose a heartbreaker on Saturday night to the Penguins 4-3 in front of the hometown crowd. And the media in Montreal, as you well know, when this team's losing, they don't take things lightly, and they rip them apart. And I can imagine what the Sunday morning's paper looked like and Monday morning's paper is going to look like as well.
I don't know what more they can do. I don't know if it's a coaching problem. Maybe they're going to make a coaching change there somewhere. Maybe they have to bring in a more experienced goaltender. I mean, Hackett is an experienced seasoned veteran, so I was surprised they didn't pick up Potvin. I really was. I know it was more of a dollar figure probably than anything else, but I thought if Potvin was there, that would be more of a sensible deal. But maybe Toronto wasn't willing to deal him away right now. I don't know, but they have to do something, and it has to be a big wake-up call real quick. All
right, let's jump over to the Leafs for a minute. They're riding high. Their storybook season continues. I mean, they're playing some great hockey. I know Dave Hanlon, our cameraman, tonight, he's pretty happy about that fact. I mean, here's a team. Pat Quinn comes in, takes over. Makes a couple of deals. Kenny Dryden did some great work in the offseason. Brings in Cujo, Curtis Joseph, Matt Sundin playing some fabulous hockey. Is this team for real, or is the bubble going to burst?
Well, knock on wood, they haven't. The injury bug hasn't hit them yet, or to any degree right now, and they haven't had to make many call-ups from the farm team. So they're doing it with the crew that they started out with, and they're playing quite well. And I think it's the goaltending duo of Cujo and Potvin. I think they need some good, strong goaltending, and like I say, goaltending's like in football. They're the quarterback. You're only as good as your quarterback, and in hockey, you're only as good as your goaltender out. I mean, you get the defense there, and then you get your forwards there, and then you get a little confidence out there, and they'll start putting the puck in.
And we get to the goaltending situation in Toronto, which has turned into, well, I mean, it's been talk right out of training camp. I mean, you've got Glenn Healy down in the IHL, and his, I can't even think of the word, but his men have told him that if he wants to go out and look for a deal, he's more than welcome to. So Healy's saying, I should be the man up there. If you're going to trade Potvin, pull the trigger, get this deal done so I can be the backup to Cujo. Cujo is rolling along. Potvin, when they throw him in, he seems to be playing fairly well. But the situation is this story ever going to come to an end, and are we ever going to see Potvin moved or Healy brought back up, whatever the case might be?
I don't know what Kenny Dryden's thinking up there, really. Potvin, he's a goaltender. He's like most other goaltenders. You've got to play a lot in order to play good. I mean, you got to be consistent. In order to be consistent, you got to play a lot, and that's the way Cujo is right now. He's being quite consistent. And Potvin, when he's thrown into the fire once in a while, he's colder than an iceberg flowing down the river. So exactly. I mean, no, Kenny Dryden has to do something, and I think he has to do it right away before it's too late.
No question. Something's got to be done because the team is playing so well that you hate to see turmoil disrupt the way that this team is moving along. Let's jump over to Major League Baseball. Of course, my favorite time of the season. You get to kick back and kind of point fingers and say, where are they coming up with this money? What are they doing? What's going on? A couple of big signings over the week. Bernie Williams re-signs with the New York Yankees. There was a lot of talk that he could be going to Arizona for $100 million, but Bernie's won 2 World Series championships out of the past 3 seasons with the Yankees. I think he's comfortable there. He signs for, got to check my list here, 7-year deal, $87.5 million. And I'm chuckling because I don't understand how where this money is coming from. Whether Steinbrenner's got seeds that he bought from somebody out on the street, he's got magic trees growing out behind the stadium that are, producing cash. Where's this money coming from? I don't understand.
I don't know, he's even complained during the season that you know, the money really wasn't there for the, you know, the remainder of the season. He's lost the money even though they won a World Series. You know, they were hoping to get a couple of more games back in New York and during the World Series to get more money in there. And I just don't know, you know, like you say, where are they getting this money from? And you know, and the players are still saying, "Show me the money," and the owners are coming up with it.
They're dishing her out. Yeah,
they're coming up with it.
I don't understand, because I mean, the years gone by, I mean, you've seen Major League Baseball go on strike, players walk out or they get locked out, whatever the case might be, and it all boils down to, as we all know, the almighty crispy dollar. And they're just, in my opinion, it seems that they're setting themselves up for something down the road. Well,
they got to come in with a salary cap or something of some sort. I mean, this is getting a little too ridiculous right now. I mean, the Mets, Piazza, you know, that's just ridiculous.
Well, then we jump over to Anaheim, and this is a ludicrous situation. I mean, Dan Duquette in Boston says, love to keep Mo Vaughn, but we don't want to shell out the big bucks. Fine and dandy. Mo Vaughn goes down the road. The Anaheim Angels show interest. He signs for almost $90 million. Okay? $90 million. Mo Vaughn, no question about it. If I was a manager in Major League Baseball, I'd love to have him playing first base for me. Defensively, all-star. You know, I mean, he's hitting 300 over the past 4 years, 40 round trippers, over 100 RBIs. But, I mean, once again, it comes back to, where does the buck stop? I mean, where does this foolishness end? I mean, the fans are going to be the one that end up paying for this in the long run. Yeah. I mean, I know Anaheim, the Disney Corporation, is in their back pocket. They've got a lot of money to spend, but, I mean, what does it say for the way that this is going? I mean, this trend just continues to build and build.
Well, I don't know. I don't know where they're getting the money, but having been away for the last couple of months, I did have the opportunity to talk to Jason Dixon, and he said with the signing, if they did, this was at the time, if they did sign Mo Vaughn, that he was seriously considering and knew that he was going to be traded and whatnot. So obviously they can't afford to keep a rather good, talented pitcher in Anaheim because they signed Mo Vaughn for the big bucks. So,
that's right. You had a chance. I'm sorry about that. You had a chance to talk to Jason Dixon. Tell us a little bit about that conversation.
Well, he was disappointed in his season due to the injuries and whatnot, but he's excited to start out next year. He's been working hard. He's been throwing a lot of ball up there in one of the local gyms, and he's working hard. He wants to get back to where he was when he was chosen on the All-Star team and everything else. So, but he doesn't expect to be on the same Anaheim Angels lineup as he was, you know, last year and the year before. He thinks he's going to be someplace else.
Well, he did some outstanding work for them. I mean, here's a guy that they took a chance on, and I mean, not a shot against Jason, but they did take a chance on him. He was virtually an unknown in Major League circles, and he pitched extremely well for them. And now all of a sudden it's a situation where he's stuck in the middle, and he's looking towards greener pastures perhaps. But it's good to hear that Jason, you know, is going to continue. He is working out in the off season. He hasn't lost his drive or his momentum, and he's going to continue to work hard, because I know that it was a huge disappointment for a lot of baseball fans around this area and around the province to hear that Jason did get demoted. And you know, Anaheim, after doing the great job that he did for the team, that they had kind of given up on him and lost faith in him. But I guess that's the way the game is played.
Well, he didn't mind being demoted because he knew it was for conditioning and, you know, coming back from an injury. So he said that didn't bother him any. And while he was down there, he said he put 110% into it anyway. So
absolutely.
But he's really looking forward to the next season coming, whatever team it is he's with. He's just he wants to play, and he's got a little bit of heart there for the game anyway, at least more than what some of them have, I think.
Absolutely. And we're looking forward to that, no question about that. We've got more coming up. We're just getting started, so we hope you stick around, grab yourself a chair, relax, kick back. We're going to talk some more sports. Right now it's Terry Ferguson. He's got the scoop on what's been going on around the basketball courts here in St. John.
Hi, Terry Ferguson reporting for Time Out from St. Malachy's High School Gymnasium in a game against Kennebecasis Valley High School. We had a final of 68-66, KV winning by 2 in a very tight, high-paced contest. Very offensive in the first half, and then it became very defensive struggle in the second half. And at halftime, it was 42-40 for St. Malachy's. And at about 3:48 left in the second half, St. Max was up 8 points. They went on an 11-point run. KV coach Dennis Rollins called a timeout, and they struggled away and managed to come back against St. Malachy's for a 2-point victory. And it was just an excellent basketball game. Both teams showed that they are very competitive in the Southern Conference against each other. I'll be with you in a moment with an interview from Mr. Tom King, coach from St. Malachy's High School. What we have here is some statistics on the game, a quick wrap-up of the scorers. We have for Kennebecasis Valley High School high scorer Justin Marr. He hit 4 3-pointers. Andrew Monroe in the middle with 17. We have Tom Seaman with 12. And we had Stefan Schroeder with 10. from St. Malachy's, the high scorer, Josh Logan, with 4 3-pointers, ended up with 22 points on the game. We had Craig Scholten in the middle, the big guy, with 12, and we had Dan Meyer with 11. Some other statistics on the game that give an idea of the intensity here is turnovers for the game. Kennebecasis Valley High School 27, St. Malachy's 26 on the game. Rebounds, we had KV with 28, 11 of them being offensive, and 21 rebounds for St. Malachy's with 6 being offensive. I have Tom King with me from St. Malachy's High School, the head coach. Tom, thanks for coming over to give us an interview here.
My pleasure.
Yeah, Tom, it was a very good game. You were up 2 points at half, and you're up 8 after 11-point run in the second half. Could you just give me your feelings on the game? I know you might be slightly disappointed, but your kids did show a very well tonight.
Yes, they did. We didn't go to the foul line at all, and that concerns me. Not one foul shot in the entire game. So either we're not going hard to the hoop, or we're taking good shots and not getting fouled. I haven't really figured that one out yet. We got 31 rebounds in the game. Our turnovers are around 22, 24, as I had it.
Yeah.
We're going to cut that down a little bit, but other than that, if you take a look at the stats, I can't figure out why we lost. I really couldn't. They must have played. I have to take a look at their stats. They must have shot exceedingly well going down the stretch, and I think that we might have caved in a little bit when it came to going to the glass.
Right. Yes, you had a strong performance from some 3 big guys inside for you. Your team, had a lot of fouls, but that comes, I think, with the style of game you like to play, Tom. You like to play a high-tempo game. It looked like KV had a little trouble with that. Down the road, I see that you probably make adjustments as the year goes on, but how do you see yourself fitting in with the conference here with Fredericton, Oramonto, and St. John High School, Simon?
Well, I think the league has a lot of parity this year. I truly believe that no one's going to go undefeated because Oramonto, as you said, KV is strong, Fredericton is always strong, and we're just going to have an exciting league, and it's not going to be a runaway. Any game is going to mean something to everyone. We're going to have to make some adjustments on the board. Tom Anderson has a back spasm, so that's why he didn't get much playing time. We had to put him in the second half, but he was still in a little pain. So once we get him healthy and running the floor like we can, I think we'll be okay.
Well, that's excellent, Tom. I thank you very much, TVMB, for your time out here on the show to give us an interview, and good luck with the rest of the year.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Meet New Brunswick's favorite fiddler, Bugs Green and Friends, Friday nights at 9 and again Saturdays at 6:30, only on Channel 10, TVNB.
Ah! We're all sons of liberty! If I'm thinking about it was to put an end to this corrupt regime, they'll never succeed in getting rid of us!
I'm a patriot, but I'm against this armed insurrection. We must reply to bureaucrats who stifle us. We can thrive through education, political economy, and industry, not armed rebellious acts. Our 2 races can live side by side without one enslaving the other.
Jailed for such radical editorials, Etienne Perron kept his paper Le Canadien going for months, with a little help from his friends.
Votre journal, monsieur le directeur.
Merci.
Hold it.
A century later, the political ideas that had inspired Etienne Perron would reappear and transform Quebec in its quiet revolution.
You're watching TVNB, the New Brunswick channel.
The Wolfpack skate from our left to right. It's Eric Cairns moving it for Finley. Ahead at center, Gano looking for Airy over the St. John line. Wrist shot. That one hit O'Sullivan in the hand, and he's hurt. But he'll stay out there, although he was looking towards the St. John bench as he took that one off the left hand. Finley backhands it into the St. John zone. Ellick takes his man down. O'Sullivan works it off the boards, Cowan gets it ahead for Dingman. He'll push it to center. Dingman over the Hartford line. Into the left wing corner. Dingman still has it in behind the net. Gano is there for the Wolfpack, and he feeds it ahead for Airy. Airy moves it up ice. Finley gets it to Gano over the St. John line with a shot. That one skips into the corner. Gano on the left side loses it. Ellick quickly for...
And a good Monday evening. Welcome back into Time Out here on TVNB. Jim Hennessy along with Barry Johnston. Hope your first day back to the work grind went well. Barry, we've got a couple of notes to make. Dave McLean, sports writer with the Telegraph-Journal Evening Times Globe, wins a pretty prestigious award. He picked up an award at Sports Banquet a couple of weeks back for his work on the Women's World Junior Curling Championships last year. So to Dave, congratulations from all of us here at Time Out here on TVNB. It was... He did a lot of work. He was on the road for about a month and a half. He was covering the World Junior Curling and something else as well. So Dave spent a lot of nights in hotels and motels, so a well-deserved reward, no question about it.
Yeah, it's nice to see that he gets recognized for his hard work and a lot of hours, a lot of behind-the-scenes hours that these writers put in trying to get everything typed up and meet deadlines and whatnot. So hats off to Dave. He deserves it.
No question about that. You get a couple other little tidbits?
Well, anybody who's interested in Major Junior Hockey, Quebec Major Junior Hockey League hockey, the Moncton Wildcats now have a website where they can be heard. Their road games can be heard. So
that's great.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to hear. And anybody who on the internet, just type in www.moncton-wildcats.com, and you should be able to listen in on some good entertaining hockey. It seems like none of the radio stations there want to pick up the feed or anything like that, because it's a gamble nowadays. You don't know if you're going to get any returns back on it, but Wildcats are playing quite well, and people want to hear what's going on with their local team, as we do here in St. John. So
okay, we're going to open a big can of worms right now. Major League salaries, Major League Baseball, professional athletes in general. Should their salaries be known to the average Joe?
Yes.
Me, you, anybody else?
Yes, right off the bat.
Yes.
It shouldn't be hidden, because we, the fans, in whatever sport it may be, hockey, as we have professional hockey here in this city, or if you're in Montreal, you got hockey and baseball and football, or whatever the case may be, even in, south of the border. We're paying the salaries more or less. I mean, we're the ones that are going into the rinks, paying out the big bucks, to watch these guys perform. And I think, yeah, we should know what they're being paid. I don't think it should be hidden. You want to know where your money's going. If you're paying $50 a seat for a game somewhere, wherever it may be, you want to know why you're paying such a high price. And when you know a player's salary, that's why you're paying the high ticket price.
Sure, but there's a lot of argument that says, would you want anybody to know what you're making? Would I want anybody to know what I was making? I mean, that's the argument that you're getting from a lot of these professional athletes. Well, is it fair? I mean, honestly, now I'm trying to play devil's advocate here and get you wound up and get you going a little bit, but would you want anybody to know how much you made a week or bi-weekly or monthly or,
Well, let's be honest, I don't make that much anyway, so I mean, if anybody wants to know, I'll gladly tell them.
Well, either do I. But if you were a professional athlete, let's say you signed a huge 7-year deal, $80 million, whatever the case might be, it's in the, it's in the millions and millions of dollars. Would you want anybody to know what you make?
Yeah, I'd brag about it if I was making that kind of money. Yeah, hey, I'm making all kinds of money. I signed a big, $1 million signing bonus too, and I'm maybe maybe the endorsements, maybe not so much to be publicly known, because we're not really paying for that. As a consumer, you are in a way,
sure,
but that's not really a salary that you're paying to go and watch them perform to do. So
I agree. Like, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just trying to get both sides of the coin here. I mean, I agree that as we are fans. Going to a Blue Jays game, an Expos game, you know, a CFL game, whatever the case might be across this great nation of ours, we're the ones that are going through the turnstiles, laying down the $30, $20, $15, $50, plus to park, plus to eat at the stadium, whatever the case might be. We're the ones paying for it. So why shouldn't we know how much this person is making? If he's not producing on the field, or on the ice, or on the turf, should we be paying this kind of money for a guy who's not producing and showing a little bit of result for the money we lay down? I mean, if you go out and buy yourself a new car and it breaks down the first week you have it, obviously you're going to be upset, take it back to the dealership. So it's the same, along the same sort of line with athletes. Do you agree with that?
Well, I think Rocky Thompson summed it up in the Sports Week. I don't know which week it was, maybe it was last week's, that the only way he gets to know is when they're publicly you know, they announce them, they print them or publicize them.
Sure.
Because that way he knows what he should be asking for when it comes contract time. Like, you know, he wants to know what Ty Domi's making, because he's along the same lines as a Ty Domi. You know, he's the enforcer, he's a tough guy. What Bob Probert's making, what Marty McSorley's making, you know, whatever the case may be. And that's the only way he gets to know, because, I mean, if he calls up and say, hey, Ty, you know, how much you making? Well, you know, Ty's probably going to say, you know, go and do whatever, and you know what to do when you get there. So. You know, but this is the way these guys know to compare themselves and what what their net worth may be when they go to their agents, and then they go to the owners of whatever it may be. And I agree along those lines.
So it's a bargaining tool.
Yeah, exactly.
So these guys have to know to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's fair. I mean,
but I mean, there are some athletes who figure it's none of our business, and that's their opinion too. But don't forget, they are in the limelight. They're the stars. They're a public figure. It's the same as actors and whatnot. I mean, when an actor does a movie, we always hear how many millions they make during the movie.
Sure.
So I do agree that it should be made public, because, I mean, we're the ones that are paying the salaries, and that's my opinion. And
you're sticking to it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to have to be the final word. Thanks very much. We'll look forward to having you back next week.
Oh, I'll be here.
Barry's going to be with us, so make sure you come back and join us next Monday night for Time Out here on TVNB. Have yourself a good week.